A stronger than factory set of axle shafts like these ones are a good idea if you have big tires on your Jeep and you do some hardcore wheeling. This is going to be insurance against breaking one of those factory axle shafts. Or of course, if you've already broken an axle shaft, you'll want to upgrade with something that's stronger than factory, like these Chromoly ones, rather than going back to a factory shaft, which could still easily break. Today we're going to talk through the installation of these axle shafts, which I am going to give a strong 2 out of 3 wrenches. You are going to have to do a good bit of disassembly to the axle assembly in order to get these installed. However, there is no major modification necessary, and I would say the whole process is probably going to take you right around 3 hours to complete, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, there are a couple different companies out there that are making Chromoly axle shafts like these ones. They're going to be a similar material, they're going to include similar components, and they are going to be a similar price. So which ones you choose is really down to which brand you prefer and which ones you like the best. Now, I do like these axle shafts, specifically the front axle shafts here, because they do come with a 5760X Spicer U-joint in them, which is going to be a non-greaseable U-joint. I like them because they're a little bit stronger due to the fact that they don't have the grease path drilled through them. However, if you are somebody who spends a lot of time in the mud and in the water, you may prefer a greaseable U-joint so you can push that old dirt out of your U-joint and replace it with fresh grease. As I said, you can get these for whichever axle you have in your TJ for both the front and for the rear. The front axle shafts are going to be made out of a very strong 4340 Chromoly and the rear out of a 4140 Chromoly. The fronts do have those non-greaseable Spicer U-joints that we talked about, and these are going to come with all the other bearings and seals necessary in order to get them installed. These are going to be a factory spline and factory length shaft, so they'll go right into your factory carrier or even a factory replacement carrier if you have a different gear set in your differential. As I said, the install for these is going to be a strong 2 out of 3 wrenches just because of the amount of disassembly you need to do to get them installed, even though there isn't going to be any major cutting or modification of the axle necessary to get these bolted up. In the front, you are going to have to remove your wheels, your brakes, the bearing assembly, slide the axle shaft out, slide the new one in, and put everything back together in reverse order. In the rear, if you do have the Dana 35, that's going to be a C-clip axle, so you'll also have to pop off your differential cover, which is one additional step, and of course you're going to have to reseal that and refill that with fluid. So you are going to need most of the tools in your toolbox to get this job done. Again, probably about 3 hours per axle, unless of course you've done this before and you're a little bit quicker, but it is something that you can tackle in your driveway. These axle shafts do come in at right around $600 a pair, and that is really the going rate for a Chromoly axle shaft that includes the components that these ones include. Now, there are a few different brands out there that are making axle shafts, again, right around the same price, right around the same components, right around the same materials, so which ones you choose is really up to you. So if you're looking to upgrade to a stronger than factory axle shaft to ensure that you're not going to break one while running larger tires on the trail, or you've already broken a factory axle shaft and you're looking to upgrade to a Chromoly one that's going to be much stronger, this is going to be a nice choice. So that's my review of the 10 factory axle shafts fitting all 1997 to 2006 TJs that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.